A former cheerleading coach is staring down a triple-digit sentence after abusing young girls for years, and we're getting a glimpse of when Marshals caught up to him after being found in a different state.
Are you Eric?
Yes, sir.
All right, Eric, you got a warrant out for your arrest.
No, we've been taking care of this.
This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner. Before we get to this story, did you know that our partner TruthFinder is the powerful public record search service we use to do research here at Law&Crime? You can plug in a name and get the address information, criminal history, and more. And let's just say this can give you some peace of mind. TruthFinder is one of the largest public record search services in the U.S. And with the paid subscription, you can get access to unlimited reports of almost anyone. And that includes looking up registered sex offenders in your area, too. You might even be shocked to look yourself up and see what's out there. Stay informed, stay safe, check public records with TruthFinder now at www.truthfinder.com/ITC. Prosecutors say this former competitive cheer coach used his position to molest nearly a dozen young girls, some of them as young as 9 years old. It's April 25th, 2023. We're in Fargo, North Dakota, and it's never a good sign when U.S. Marshals from the Fugitive Task Force come knocking.
I think they went in that one. I think they went in that door. You good?
Yeah.
Dog.
I opened the front door already. He walked around the side.
Are you Eric?
Yes, sir.
All right, Eric, you got a warrant out for your arrest.
No, we've been taking care of this.
According to officials, Erick Joseph Kristianson was wanted on a felony warrant in connection to a case out of Orange County, California. Prosecutors say from 2002 to 2005, Erick was a competitive cheerleading coach at Magic All-Stars. And from 2004 to 2006, he also worked as an assistant cheer coach at Trabuco Hills High School. But officials say during that time period, he used his position to gain access to young girls. The allegations didn't come to light until 2022, when Erick was arrested in Daytona Beach, Florida. During the Florida arrest, he was accused of masturbating on camera to 3 children between the ages of 11 and 13, as well as molesting a 13-year-old girl. All of the Florida victims cheered at the competitive cheer club where Erick reportedly worked at the time. After news spread of Erick's Florida arrest, a young woman contacted officials in Orange County, California, to report she was molested by him when she was 14 years old and while he was her cheer coach. Prosecutors say he routinely met up with her during lunch hours, took her to his home or to the beach, and engaged in sexual activity with her until she was 15. Orange County prosecutors say Erick allegedly molested 7 other girls while he was a coach between 2002 and 2006. And the girls he allegedly molested were between the ages of 9 to 16. 2 of the young girls said they left the sport after he molested them and were afraid to report him out of fear and embarrassment. So how was he found in North Dakota? Well, officials say in August of 2022, Erick was arrested in Kansas on a warrant before being extradited back to Florida to face the charges of him exposing himself to 3 teen girls during a FaceTime call. He posted a $300,000 bond, and he was released without any restrictions on leaving the state, meaning he was free to go anywhere until his Orange County, California case eventually caught up to him.
Put your finger back, please. Okay. Can I take off my watch?
What's that?
Yeah, we'll get it off.
Can you
watch off? Yeah, we can pop it.
In my wallet here is my lawyer's number. Or phone call.
Where's the wallet at?
And my phone. You want to get it?
He needs wallet, phone, whatever he needs, you can get it.
I'm trying to figure out
Just
what
relax. Hey, relax. Relax your right arm.
California. He reached out to me on a Tuesday, like literally right now. So.
California.
Negative, I have not found jail right now.
What's in California?
Well, what do you want to do? Lock in?
You can get one later.
Is there anything else you want to get?
No.
What else you want?
Does that feel okay on your wrist?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. You got any weapons or anything on you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
We're just gonna make sure.
He said California, I mean, maybe he meant
Orange County?
I lived there 15 years ago.
In Orange County, California, you did?
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it sounds like it's in California, so.
Yeah, I don't know, because...
Where did you think the warrant was out of?
Well, I'm going through a trial right now.
He's got a trial going through Florida,
Yeah.
and
What's that for?
he got arrested for it, He talked to him and goes, "Well, I'm out of town. If you want me to come back, or can I go to
Well, that
courthouse
was
here?
a year ago.
He
So
goes, "We'll let you know."
we're currently dealing
He
with
called him a couple times trying to find out.
So you can,
A week later,
Huh?
you're good to be
Marshals
up.
Yeah, I'm
were
perfectly
arrested.
fine.
He's
Like,
I've
you
been
could
trying to
call
find out what to do.
my bail
And
person.
the cop said that's
All that's taken care of.
What's your trial for down there?
Accusations.
Yeah, our lawyer
Can't really talk about it without a
Yeah,
lawyer.
I just know what your charge. I didn't know what your charge was down there.
So
That's out of Orange County, Florida,
the last one
right?
was really
Or what county is that?
Volusia County, Florida.
Volusia County. Okay.
Maybe it's Orange County, but
Yeah. I think
they've
those are
been
both
taking
raised.
care of it because
This one's out of California.
this is out on bail and everything's good to go.
We got
fine on everything.
we do have a warrant and stuff, so.
With him or on the agenda?
I got a copy of the warrant on my computer. They sent it to me.
So yeah, can I see it?
Yeah, we can look at it when we
Mark,
head
I
down
just
if we
sent
want
away
to.
to you over reference.
Can he grab my lawyer's card out of my wallet?
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
giving your wallet to your brother? Or
Do you want just the card or you want your whole wallet?
Oh no, if you have that, then you're fine. I just want to make
He's
sure
got
you
your
have
wallet
it.
right there.
Yeah.
You got a card?
I don't have to look at his wallet.
So where is
You want me to look in?
I think he just wants.
I just want to make sure he's got my attorney's number. Or could you write it down? I keep Richard's info because I don't know anyone's number.
Where?
The middle one. That one. No, it's Isaac's.
Do you need a piece of paper to write it down?
Yeah,
I can
so
take a
I can
picture,
give him a
too.
call.
Okay,
That's-
yeah,
that's
whatever.
not it.
Well, do you want?
That one right there.
Does,
Actually,
take a picture to keep it, or
I've
you
got
want
an extra one in the center console of the car.
You got an extra one there?
Yeah, look in the center console.
You guys on a flight of training?
Yeah, you two might as well go. All right.
Yeah.
I will, and I can also I can forward you your email if you want a copy of the warrant. And then that way you can look at it too. I can probably.
Put it in that pocket. Is it
Make
around?
it
We're just meeting him. We'll probably beat him out there, honestly.
Oh, okay, as long as I got his number. Can you
I said we'll probably beat him out there. We're going to
call him
Glendon,
real
so.
quick?
Where's the
We're
copy
just
of
driving
it?
out there.
Get it. I know it's kind of hard to read, but can you see it?
We're asking for a copy of that so you can look it up.
For the what? For the warrant?
Yeah, he's gonna call.
They'll be able to pull it up. But
Okay.
yeah, well, he'll also probably have a copy.
So that's what I was gonna say. I'll ask you.
Yeah, I can't read it. I'm trying.
No, I get it. It's a small thing.
Yeah, no.
If you can look it up, I'll stick it out. Can you send me a copy just so I can give it to him if you ask? Yeah, you got a couple things where he's
Gives
thrown
the
out
violations, but it's all numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should, once California sends it to the jail, they'll give you a copy of it, so you'll be able to read whatever's on
I
there.
don't know. If you can call him right now and just say, let him know I was here helping you out, and then.
Yeah, he knows. He knew.
'Cause I
Are you taking his
I
wallet?
just
You want me to take his wallet?
Yeah.
Can you take his ID out for me, please? I need that for the jail. Yeah.
They did get one finally.
Sound like it.
Yeah, certain places with
Yeah, because
somebody.
he just did the court appearance. We did a court appearance on Wednesday. Pre-trial stuff, just to
Just
make
over
sure
like Zoom or
all's
whatever.
good. So that's why
Oh,
I
you're in
didn't-
Florida? That's.
I didn't have to be there
Oh,
for
your
it.
lawyer representative? Sure.
Okay.
So that's why I'm confused. Because always,
Like I said, I literally got a call about it like an hour ago, so
yeah.
I don't know much about it either. I just said, hey,
Okay.
this guy's got a warrant. This is where he's probably staying at. I happened to see you walking in, so.
I just got in from the court.
Other than that, I really don't know the details. I'm sorry. You got everything you need?
Yeah,
Do you want your phone or you want to leave it here or?
I'm not gonna be able to use it when I'm there. So
You'll
there's-
be able to get numbers out of it. That's about it. If you need to get numbers out.
then
write it
yeah,
down.
I'll need mom's. Yeah, because I don't have mom's number or nothing.
Do you want me to write it down for you? Would you rather have it written down or take it? You're gonna leave your phone
Because
here.
he can take it if you just want to write numbers down now on a piece of paper. You take
Yeah, if
that,
you can
that's all you're
write-
gonna be able
Last
to
time they
use it for.
illegally took his phone and computer and they still have it and they're lawyers
If we
fighting
could take
them.
that and write mom.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Need anything
Write
else
her
from
new
my
number.
side?
No, you can go.
Not the 4631, the new one.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
Erick's Orange County case went on trial in 2025. According to the Orange County prosecutors, Erick Kristianson's acts would get, quote, brazen, bold, and only getting more and more emboldened as the years went on. Prosecutors reportedly revealed during trial Erick was detained in November 2005 and was questioned by deputies. However, he wasn't charged then. One accuser came forward saying she was just 14 years old when she met a then 21-year-old Erick through a YMCA summer camp. The accuser alleged his flirtatious messages then graduated to him taking her to a high school dance and engaging in sex acts with her either at the local community center or in his car. Another accuser said she met him when she was 11 years old because she was friends with his younger brother. She claimed Erick sexually assaulted her while they watched a movie together. One accuser said she was just 9 years old when she said Erick molested her. She said it happened from 2002 to 2004. In one instance, he put her on his lap during cheer practice while he had an erection. Prosecutors during trial said Erick even formed a surfing club that was supposed to be for team bonding. The prosecutors say one of his accusers would hang out with him before the surf lessons, and they engaged in sex multiple times a week. Erick's defense attorney, though, fired back at the accusations, arguing one of the accusers remained his friend on Instagram over the past 15 to 20 years or so. His defense argued the accuser's claims weren't credible. On December 16th of 2025, Erick was convicted on 23 felonies for molesting 10 young girls. 11 of the felony counts were for lewd or lascivious acts upon a minor under 14. 4 felony counts were for lewd or lascivious acts upon a child aged 14 or 15. 6 felony counts of sexual penetration by foreign objects of a minor under 18, and 2 felony counts of sexual penetration by a foreign object of a minor under 16. He hasn't been sentenced yet, but he's facing a maximum of 165 years in prison. Well, there's a lot to break down with this case, and I'm joined now by Mike Reck, an attorney for sexual abuse survivors. Mike, thanks so much for joining me today. You know, the defendant in this case, Erick Kristianson, is staring down a max sentence of 165 years in prison. What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that's a very serious sentence, or potential sentence, and it's a very serious case. You know, there are multiple child victims in this case. The conduct that was alleged, or at this point he's been convicted of, is very intrusive, very significant. So yes, that's a massive number, but that's a very serious crime. So it seems appropriate.
And in terms of, sentencing and the sentencing hearing, because we do know that'll take place kind of in the spring of 2026 when it comes to the California case, but what factors will the judge focus on most when deciding that final sentence? I'm sure the victim impact statements will be very important for the judge to listen to. But in terms of the other factors, what do you think the judge will focus on most?
Yeah, that's a really important question, because up until this point, the sole focus is there a conviction? Is there not a conviction? Now, at this point, the focus will turn from, did it happen? Didn't it happen? To what is the appropriate sentence? And the factors that can be brought in, obviously the judge is the gatekeeper in terms of what can and should be considered, but there are factors that the court is supposed to follow, and both sides will make presentations. The prosecution will present aggravating factors, and the defense will present mitigating factors. But where the nuance lies is in how those are presented. So you mentioned the victim impact statements. In California, every victim has an opportunity to address the court if he or she wants to. And those can be in a variety of forms. They can be a written submission. They can be verbal. We've seen times when those victims, then children, now adults, will appear physically and speak very emotionally, not just about the crime itself, but about the impact of it. And that's baked into the concept, the victim impact statement. Not just did the crime occur, but how did the crime affect you? And the court should take that into consideration, because the purpose of a sentence, yes, it is punishment, but it's also deterrence. So it should be having an act both retrospectively and prospectively. And those victims are, in reality, the most important people in the room. And their statements and their presentation oftentimes carries a lot of weight, with the court, and certainly with the human beings in general. Now, the defendant obviously will have the opposite perspective. And it'll be really interesting to see how the defense team tackles that. Because once the conviction has happened, many times you'll see a pivot where it's no longer about can you prove it. It's the defendant pivots and takes some version of introspective responsibility for this and acknowledges with an eye towards how is this going to affect his or her sentence and what would be appropriate there. Now, the interplay with that obviously is it's a very serious conviction, and I'm sure his team is evaluating the possibility of appeals. So they have to really walk that line and figure out how to appropriately present that. So there are things the defendant could do too. They may present some type of factors in mitigation. There may be people who speak on the defendant's behalf. One tactic we've seen also is the defendant could, and I have no idea if this is going to happen in this case, but the defendant could voluntarily submit to psychological evaluation and then provide that information to the court as well. So, right now, as both sides digest the fact that the conviction happened, they'll then turn to the sentencing. And obviously the Orange County District Attorney's Office, which did a great job prosecuting this, will be looking at the aggravating factors, and the defendant will be digesting and basically trying to figure out how to not live the rest of his life in custody.
Right, because 165 years in prison, if that was to be his sentence, that is pretty much a life sentence, even though he is still facing life in prison as well. And I'm curious, Mike, your thoughts on, are there any type of mitigating factors that you think, especially when it pertains to this case, that could really sway the judge?
Without getting into some kind of a details that the defense would present, it would be really difficult to find mitigating factors when the conviction is for multiple acts with multiple children. And when you look at the convictions, the ages of the children play into this. California law draws a line at age 14. Different jurisdictions, different states, kind of regulate behavior with children of different ages. And in California, that line is 14. And so sexual acts with children under 14 is viewed by the law in California as significantly more egregious. So there, at least on paper, are a massive trove of aggravating factors. And it's difficult for me in a vacuum to envision how this could be mitigated. The other thing we should consider is that number, the maximum number. He's probably not going to get the maximum number, but let's say it's even significantly less than that, and it's 70 years. In reality, for most human beings who are already adults, that's probably a life sentence anyway. But whatever the number is, because of a nuance that's particular to California law and child protection, we don't actually know whether he would ever be released from a custodial situation. California has another law called the Sexually Violent Predators Act, and it's a welfare and institutions code. And what it basically says is, after you're done serving your conviction, if there are multiple victims, if there is a danger to safety or a threat to reoffend, a civil commitment is imposed on the defendant when he's released from prison. So that means instead of leaving prison, he would have to go to evaluation and would go to an appropriate institution that does not have an end date. It's an ongoing evaluation. So in reality, I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, and I'm sure the prosecutor's office is looking at the SVP law. We don't actually know if he would ever be released from a custodial situation because he faces that civil commitment of the sexually violent predators situation as well.
Yeah, that on top of the criminal case that he's still facing in Florida too. It really is just pretty significant when you think about it. And just the accusations alone, as well as, what he's been convicted for, as we talk about the Orange County, California case. Prosecutors say this went on for years. These girls, these children, they were so young. And he was in a position of authority, no different than maybe a pastor or a teacher. He was their cheerleading coach. And these girls were scared to come forward. But are you surprised, given how long that this has been going on, and it goes from California to Florida based off the allegations alone, that he wasn't caught sooner?
I haven't done anything except child protection for more than 20 years, and I'm never surprised. What we see with this type of pattern is it's consistent with an affixed ephebophile or pedophile. They don't act out one time. They reoffend over and over and over. And the MO usually is not to stop offending, it's simply to move from one target population to another target population. And so if you look at what appears to be this individual's pattern of conduct, he went from one youth serving organization to another youth serving organization. Now, the geographic diversity oftentimes plays to a perpetrator's favor because they're in a new population where people don't know each other, reputations don't continue, and finding out background is more difficult. And if you look at the institutions he worked in, it's diverse. It's not like he went from one public school to another public school, or in a Catholic, pastor situation, a priest goes from one parish to another parish. There are times when he's at a cheer academy.
Yeah.
There are times when he's at a public school cheer team. There are times when he was working for the YMCA summer camp. Those are diverse institutions of diverse sizes, and having true communication between those types of organizations in multiple jurisdictions is really challenging. And so even if there is some suspect behavior, it's often something that the individual can secret. So in terms of the geographic diversity and the length of time, no, that's what perpetrators do. They ingrain themselves into different target populations, they access those children, and then they move on. I think, there was another question that I think was implicit in there, and that was the girls, now women who have shared this, are speaking about this now, when this happened years ago. And that also is consistent with how we see the psychology of childhood trauma develop. Oftentimes, this type of an assault is shrouded by complex psychological issues. The children, now adults, often think that they had a role to play in that because they internally will view some type of complicitness in it. I didn't say no, I didn't fight. And that's not how it works. The law has now recognized that children, particularly those young children under the age of 14, they do not have the ability to consent to be a victim of crime. It doesn't matter if that is a battery with a weapon or a sexual assault. It is a crime, and the child doesn't have the ability to consent to it. It doesn't matter if you fight back. It doesn't matter if the authority, the air of authority that the individual has a hold over you. So they usually are not coming forward and speaking about this openly until a little bit later in life, when they've come to terms with, oh, hey, maybe when I was 14 and I thought I had control of my mind and my body, I really didn't. And so that comes forward then. And then, young people, young adults in this day and age, usually they're just suppressing it. They're trying to get on with life and trying to figure out how to make ends meet and, deal with this trauma that's stuffed down inside. So this is incredibly consistent with how we normally see survivors come forward. And there's usually a crystallizing moment where something will happen. One person comes forward, or there's some type of a conviction or some type of publicity. And then suddenly people realize, survivors learn they are not alone and they didn't do anything wrong. And it's almost an unwritten permission to share their story. So that I don't view it as a delayed reporting. I view that as consistent. That is something that we expect to see as well.
Right. And I feel like the catalyst, I believe this is what Orange County prosecutor said, was that some of the accusers, some of the survivors, that they had saw that he was arrested in Daytona Beach, Florida. And that's what kind of sparked them into contacting officials in California to report what had happened to them back in the early 2000s, around that 2002 to 2006 period. And with that being said, Erick Kristianson is still facing those charges of child molestation and child exhibition charges out of Florida. Do you expect his trial to move forward in light of his California conviction?
That's in some ways it's up to the prosecutor's office in Florida because the crime allegedly occurred, so it exists. And just like Mr. Kristianson was extradited, I don't know if it was voluntary or forceful, from the state where he was arrested to California, he can be extradited from California to Florida to stand trial there. It's much like we saw with, Harvey Weinstein, for example, where he came from New York to California while he was in custody. The same thing can happen. Now, the prosecutor in Florida may consider the reality of, if there's already a significant sentence, is it a worthwhile and appropriate use of state resources to get him there, to do the conviction? And presumably the prosecutor there would work with the victims, with the survivors, so that they have a say in that process. Because in reality, just the institution of the proceedings and the fact that a trial happens is a crystallizing moment for the survivors to know that, regardless of what the sentence is, that there is a forum that says this happened, it was wrong, and it was not your fault. So exactly how the prosecutors in Florida will play that out, I think that's yet to be revealed, but they do have some options.
Well, Mike Reck, I want to thank you so much for your well-versed answers and your insight into this case. I really appreciate your time with us today.
Thank you very much for having me on, and thanks for the interest in the cause.
Erick Kristianson is scheduled to be sentenced in the California case on March 19th of 2026. Orange County prosecutors say he's still facing child molestation and child exhibition charges in Florida. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner.